a sudden is having to scale up very, very quickly and meet the demand that is out there, which obviously that's great. But obviously, we're all very disappointed that we're not able to give customers the great experience they deserve after not travelling for so long. You have COVID high infection rates. The whole labour force, the whole labour market is suffering this. We've all got a lot of staff still off sick, and clearly in an airport, airline infrastructure, the need to have the right people in the right locations is paramount, clearly. And actually, we have a labour shortage. The industry suffered, unfortunately, with the lockdowns and shutdowns, the uncertainty. Businesses have had to make really tough decisions, and unfortunately, we've lost a lot of great people. 200,000 staff have left the industry, and actually trying to get them back in an industry which is unfortunately seen as probably not as secure as some of the others right now, is really tough. So a number of factors kind of really coming together here.
I was hearing that perhaps this problem could be going on for a couple of months, even towards June, because when you're looking to bring back some maybe staff that have left, you've got to be security cleared, you've got to have the training. You can't just snap your fingers and bring them back.
Absolutely right. So we really need, the government to step up and really help support the industry. Something that, lots of, across the sector we've been calling for, really look at the process in place for security clearance, obviously without compromising, but really work together cross industry to really showcase that, the sector is vibrant, it is coming back, and it's a great industry to work for.
Tell me, whereabouts are people going? Where are they heading? Are they going back to the classic destinations?
Yeah, this time of year, you've got great, the classic destinations like Spain, the Canaries, great weather. We've seen, huge surge of demand for places like Dubai, in the Middle East, and that's doing exceptionally well. The US has come back, they have dropped partially their entry requirements. So if you're fully vaccinated, you can travel. There are exemptions for children. So for the Easter holidays, it's a really big destination for families heading out to the US for the first time in many years.
We heard this week the Spanish Tourist Board in London, I understand, performing a U-turn on its announcement that the country will open its borders to unvaccinated British holidaymakers. What do you know about this?
Quite a lot, actually. So we had notification that, Spain had seamlessly dropped the requirement for vaccination, for you to be vaccinated to enter Spain. Unfortunately, literally a few hours later, they issued an apology to say that they had misinterpreted the information from their authorities, and that wasn't the case. So that still stands. So until the end of April, we still have that policy in place. We don't know whether that's going to change. We hope in the fullness of time that we will start to be able to bring all customers back to Spain that want to travel without it being dependent on the vaccination status.
Are people confident to book ahead in terms of long-term travel plans? I mean, I noticed that there were a lot of people who were getting upset that quite a few autumn flights to Japan on one of the big carriers were just being shelved without any warning. And I know currently there's problems because of the fact you're not allowed to go to Japan, I don't think, unless as a tourist. And then there's the concern over the flight path over Russia and all of that. But we're not out of the woods, are we, in terms of international travel being back to normal?
It's far from normal. It really isn't. I think for those of us that work in the sector, it's great to see people starting to travel. As I said, really frustrating that we're not able to give everyone the experience they want. I mean, I have to say, it seems to be getting better. There are still bottlenecks. Gatwick North Terminal today, passengers were going through seamlessly. We had some really great reports there. So it's not widespread. That's not an excuse. There are issues that we need to work through. But I think the industry will start to work through these bottlenecks. And as we progress into the summer, we'll be in a much better position, and travellers and consumers can start to book and can book with confidence, booking with, travel providers that are there to really help them, travel agents that can make sure they understand what the restrictions are, because you make a really great point. Whilst the UK government have eased off all restrictions to re-enter the UK, there are still restrictions for travelling overseas. So we have to make sure consumers have all the right paperwork, know exactly what they need. And remember, for many that haven't travelled for 2 years, they know exactly what is required before they get to the airport, what they can take through their baggage, what the requirements are, so they have everything prepared to really ensure that there aren't any more bottlenecks.
And that's where a travel agent becomes very handy to help you with that detail. I mean, I guess another really important factor here is travel insurance, depending on where you are going, with all the changes that happen with Brexit. And certainly if you go to America, my goodness, you need to be insured. But do many of the insurance companies fully cover you for any COVID changes? Because there's a lot of worry about about how rapidly the situation can change. As you say, no restrictions here, but in another country, you could be the other side of the world, and they suddenly say, you can't come. What is the situation? How do you make sure you're covered?
Well, that's a really great question. I think that's back to the point you made about travel agents. That's where they really come into their own, because it's not straightforward. You really need to make sure that your policies and the protection you have in place covers you not just for one reason, but for a multitude of reasons of issues that can go wrong.
That is Julia Lo Bue-Said, who is from the Advantage Travel Partnership Group.